there is a visual with the name called tile slicer. What is that? Now the name is tile slicer. In your Power BI desktop, you might not see the name called what? Tile slicer. Currently, I am using latest version of Power BI. When I go to about, what is the version I am using? November 2024. Might be if you guys install this software in October month, you don't see November version. In October version, this slicer name is not tile slicer. They used to call that slicer name as slicer new visual. Which visual? Slicer new visual. Now they renamed that slicer new visual to what? Tile slicer. Tile slicer. Tile slicer. If you don't find tile slicer, you need to go and choose what? Slicer new. Slicer new visual, they renamed to what? Slicer. Some people will call this as button slicer also. Which one? Button slicer. So the functionality of this slicer visual or this tile slicer visual, 90% same. Which one? 90% same. Only the difference is this tile slicer have more formatting options. What? So when you want to learn, this is the second visual I'm trying to explain in which category? Visuals for filtering the data. Hmm? When you want to learn any visual, what are the three things we need to learn? I said purpose, field wells, formatting options. Before I discuss this, I'm telling that I discussed about a slicer visual, right? 90% of options you will find similar in where? Tile slicer. So tile slicer is just some advanced version of slicer. Uh, so if you know slicer, along with the slicer, some additional formatting options are there. What you will have? Additional formatting options. We will see that now. So here, first you need to understand about what? Tile slicer purpose. What is the purpose of tile slicer is? Tile slicer is used for filtering the data in a where report page by the clients. Same, whatever I write for slicer, same purpose I write for what? Tile slicer is also used for what? Filtering the data in where? Report page by the clients. Now you need to understand about what? Field wells. Now go and copy these three card visuals to a new page. Now instead of creating them, I'm just copy pasting. Now I am going to take this time which slicer? Tile slicer. Keep this tile slicer. Keep this tile slicer. In the tile slicer, I want to filter the data in these visuals based on region. Based on what? Region. When I go and drag which column, there are two field wells. What are the field wells you have? Field, tooltip. One extra field well you got is what? Tooltip. There are two field wells. One is field tooltip. Second one is what? Tooltips. You need to understand about the field wells means what you need to understand? Dimension columns and first you need to understand into the field we will drag dimension column or fact column. Once you understand it, whether it's a dimension or fact, then you need to understand one or multiple. Same way we need to understand tooltip also, whether it is for dimension column or fact column. And then you need to understand one or multiple. So here into the field we will drag dimension columns only, guys. Which columns? Dimension. So now go and drag which column? Region. So I said that this is a tile slicer, right? You got like tiles. You got like what? How many tiles you got? Four tiles. I'll come back and I'll do lot of formatting here. Finally, we understand into the field we need to drag dimension column or fact column. Dimension column. You need to drag what? Dimension column. So once you understand it is for dimension column, then what you need to understand? One or more. One or more. Try to go and drag a category. Try to go and drag what? What happens? It got replaced. That means how many it will allow? Only one. Only one dimension column only. So into the tooltip, keep in mind wherever you see tooltip, will drag fact columns only. Which columns? Fact columns. Uh, you go to tooltip. So here, when I click on furniture, does it filtering? Office supplies it is filtering, right? Okay, don't select it. Now go to where? Tooltip. In the tooltip, I'm going to drag the sales column. Which column? When I drag the sales column to tooltip, you don't see anywhere here sales. Tooltip means I said that when I hover any visual, the box you are getting, right? That is tooltip, I said, right? Here also, when I hover on here, it need to show. Is it showing tooltip now when I hover? No. Why it is not showing is select the visual, go to format, general, tooltip what? Off. You need to on. When I on it, when I hover here, it is showing what? Sales. Why it is showing sales here? We added sales. Now instead of sales, I want to show profit also. Go and drag what? Go and drag profit also. When I try to drag the profit, does it allows? Yes. It got ordered both sales. When I hover here, what you are seeing? Sales and profit. Generally, we don't drag into the tooltip fact columns, but keep in mind for some reasons, if you want to see some fact columns over there, we can see. Tooltips, what type of column I said? Fact column. One or multiple? Multiple fact columns. You can drag what? Multiple fact columns. Multiple fact columns. Fine, guys. Now we completed understanding about what? Purpose, field wells. The most important one about the slicer is this tile slicer have what? Lot of formatting options. When I go and select this tile slicer, when I go to the format, you see lot of formatting options are there. In the visual, when I take normal slicer, when I drag region column, when I go to format, in visual formatting, how many you have? Only three. When I go to this tile slicer, in visual formatting, how many you have? Five or six options are there. One, two, three, four, five, six options are there. But general is what? Common. Same or not? We discussed about what? Properties, title. I don't like this title. I don't like this title here. How can you stop it? Just stop the title. So effects, date format, header icons, tooltips, alternative text. We discussed them. They are not that much important. What is important here? Fine. Let me make you understand this visual formatting options. I'm taking which one? Sorry, guys. Tile slicer. In the tile slicer, I want to filter the data in these visuals based on region column. Based on which column? Region column. I'm going to drag here which column? Region. Now, if you see, this is not looking good. So either I need to show all this in single row, either I need to show all this in single column. Now you are showing in how many rows? Two rows. How many columns? Three columns. There is some missing values. Not looking good. First formatting you can do is go to format. There is something called what? Layout. In the layout, current arrangement is what? Grid. Grid means rows and columns. Grid means what? Rows and columns. Now, if you have more values, you can show rows and columns. You have only how many values? Four values. Either try to show in single row, either try to show in what? Single column. I'll try to show in single row. Instead of grid, I can select what? Single row. When I select single row, how many values you are seeing in a row? Three. There is one more region pending, right? What you need to do is, there is max button show. How many buttons we are asking? Three. Let's make it what? Four. In single row, how many buttons it is showing? Four. I don't like this title now. I want to stop this. It is not looking that much great when you have the title. How to stop it? General, stop the title. Now, perfectly, you have a button slicer now. I can go and click on any button. I can filter it, right? So this is about the layout, guys. If you want them in single row, you can set it. Or else select this visual, go to format, where layout, instead of that, single column, you can go and keep it in the single column like this. Now I can select the filters and the data is filtering, right? So single row or single column, or else if you don't have much space, you can show in layout. In the layout, you can show in what? Sorry, single grid. In the grid, I can select how many rows? Two rows, two columns. Two rows, what? Two columns. It is showing in what now? Like a grid. Like a grid. So which one is looking good there? You go and select it. So I think that showing them in single row is looking good. I can go with what? Layout, single row, first. That is the layout. So we got some idea. There is formatting option called what? Layout. So once after the layout, another important formatting option you have is, first let's understand slicer settings here. What? Slicer settings. When I go to the slicer settings, you have one called what? Selections. When I go to selection, there is something called what? Single select, force selection, select all. So here you are planning to show select all button also. In this now you are showing only 4, right? You are planning to show which button? Select all. When I on the select all, you got the select all. How many 4 it is showing? How many it is showing? 4. There is one region missing, right? Better to show what now? 5. Where you can change it? Layout, max buttons is 5. Now you got select all also. If you want to select all at once, if you want to unselect all at once, select all, deselect all, you got that kind of settings. If you don't like this select all button, you can just go to stop the select all button. Okay. Next one is single select. Single select is what? On. At any time, how many values you are able to select? Only one value. Even when I hold the control button, okay, when I hold the control button, you are able to select 2 values. Without control, I want to select 2 values. What you need to do is go to single select off. When I select single select off, how many values I can select now? Multiple values. If you want to allow them multiple values, you need to go to single select and you need to do what? Off. If you want to select only one value, you need to select what? Single select on. There is something called what? Force selection. By default, is there any region selected? No. If you go to force selection, by default, it will select the first value. It will select what? First filter. If you go to force selection, what is the filter it applied now? Central. By default, it will select what? First one. So if when I try to uncheck also, it will not uncheck. Force selection, right? So click on what? Reset to default. Mostly will go default. So we got some idea, single select, when to stop it. When they want to select what? Multiple values. Force selection, when to select it. Default one value if you want to select, force selection. If you want select all button, you can add it. Simple settings we already know. Next one, shapes. Now you are showing like this, right? If you want a different shape there, you can go and change it. What is now? Rectangle. There is something called what? Rounded rectangle. It is showing a different style now, right? Rounded rectangle. If you don't want rounded rectangle, there is another shape here. What is the another shape you have is snipped tab. This is a different shape. If you want, you can still change the shape. If you want to change the shapes, where you can change it is shapes. And then next one in the shapes, I'll go with rectangle or rounded rectangle. Fine, that's fine. Next one is what? Layout. We already discussed, right? Next one is what? Call out values. This text is there, right? This text is nothing but call out values. The text is nothing but what? Call out values. Now, this text colors, if you want to change that and all, you can set it in where? Call out values. When I go to format, call out values, when you select what? This is the default state. This is what? Default. Default state, what color it is showing? Black. Instead of black, I want to show default a different color. What color it is showing? Orange. Let's say when I click on central, it is showing which color? White. Font color I'm talking about. White. Instead of white, I want to yellow. I want what? Yellow. When I select this, I want to show which color? Yellow. What you need to do is select the visual. Instead of default, you need to select what? Selected. When you selected, what is the color you are expecting there? Yellow. Now currently when you selected, what is the color you are getting? White. Instead of white, you are expecting what? Yellow. Now when I go and click on central, what color you are getting? Yellow. You don't see much difference. Take some other color. When you selected, I want to show light blue color. Which color? Like when I click on central, does it show central light blue? East light blue. So like this, when you click on what color you need to show. When I hover, it is not changing the color. It is showing what color? Orange only. Now here there is another option called what? Hover. Hover means when you place the cursor there. When I go on hover, I don't want orange color. I want some other color here. When I hover, it need to change which color? Black color. When I hover here, is it changing black? Yes. When I don't, default color is what? Orange. When I hover, black. When I click on, light blue. Like this, if you want to change this text colors, where you can change? Call out values. Once after the call out values, next one is what? I'll come back to the images. Next one is what? Buttons. So, in this buttons, there is padding border. For this buttons, I need to add a border. What you need to add? Currently, there is a border. If you stop the border, do you have buttons border? No, there is no border. If you want to get the border, you can on it. And if you want a different border color, we can choose a different border color there. If you want to format border, you can format. Next one, fill. If you have a, what is the fill color you have? White. I want light gray color over there. You can go and select that fill color. Next one, or else fill color use white only for time being. Shadow. When you on the shadow, you got a different style here, right? You got some different style. Next one is what? Glow. When you on the, you got seeing some glow around that border. Next one, accent bar. You'll get some line kind of thing. In the left side, you are getting what? Line kind of thing. So all these settings are used to format which one? Button. They looks better now, right? When compared to previous. Yes. So what is the last formatting I need to discuss? Images. So there are some times when I take the slicer, when I go and drag, region, you drag what? Region. You can drag region from this, or you can go to the people's table, drag which column? Region. You drag the region. I drag from which table? People, go to format. So I want to show it in single row. How to get it in single row? Layout, single row. Sorry, 4. I don't want to show title here. How to stop it? General, stop. Now I'm expecting along with the region, I want to show the region manager photo. I want to show what? Region manager photo. So the image also I need to show. Image also I need to show. If you go to this table, which table? People's table, there is a column called what? Image. First thing what you need to do is, when I select the image column, when I go to the column tools, in the data category, it is what? Uncategorized. First select which column? Image, go to where? Column tools, go to where? Data category. Instead of uncategorized, select this, it's a image URL. It's a image URL. See, if you take one table visual, when I drag this image column, is it showing images or text? URL? URL. I don't like to show URL. I need to show what? Image. How to get images? Select the image column. Go to column tools. Data category. It is uncategorized. Change it to what? Image URL. When I change it to image URL, I'm getting photos. First, make sure when you have image URL, select that and change the data category to what? Image URL. Now here, instead of showing that region, every region will have one sales manager. That sales manager photo is there here. Photo URL is there. That URL, that photo I need to show here. How can you show that photo is? Select the visual, go to where? Format, image, add data, and go to which table? People, which column? Image. When I click on image, now it is showing both region name and their image. I can click on the image, based on that also I can filter. Is it changing? For some reasons in the slicer, you want to show what? Images. Where you can add it? In the image section. Yes. What do you notice between difference between slicer and tile slicer? Some extra things, extra formatting options. So almost similar
Mm.
to what? Tile slicer is similar to what? Slicer with. These are the two visuals we have under visuals for visualizing what? Filtering the data. How many visuals we discussed in this category? Two visuals. Tomorrow's class I'll discuss about what? Visuals for visualizing categorical data. Let us stop here. We'll go with some questions now.